been another amazing night here for Oceanic National Stage 2. Big win for Bliss over Rhythm, 7-2, but we move ahead pretty quickly into our last matchup of the night. The grand final rematch coming ahead, Knights versus Chiefs. Doesn't get any better than that, Guz, to close off the night.
Yeah, it's been a fun night of OCN, and we have arguably the best match of the night to round things off. Chiefs and Knights, two massive names in Oceanic Siege going head-to-head.
Let's go and have a look at the Chiefs and how they are rolling right now. Second place in the standings, only behind Team Bliss, of course, who are on all 12 points. Chiefs at the moment on 7, so a win here and 3 points would at least keep them close to Team Bliss for what could eventually be a fantastic Playday 7 matchup between those two teams. For the Chiefs, though, it hasn't been all sunshine. At least over in APAC South, it's actually been quite poor. I don't know how else to say it, guys.
Yeah, that said, though, at least in OCN, things are being a little bit brighter heading into this Playday. They're right at the tippy top in second, so I mean, they can be pretty happy with that result. They are looking to, I guess, strengthen their resolve a little bit in their domestic competition. And, I mean, look, these are names that we all know at this point in time. All fantastic players in their own right. We just have to see which Chiefs rocks up to the server today.
Let's go DGTL. He's looking good as always. Let's go and have a look at their opponents. It is the Knights, of course. And honestly, it feels like, at least maybe this is just me, guys, but over maybe the last month or so, maybe ever since they lost the grand final to the Chiefs, you almost... they don't have that same aura about them. They're sitting in 4th at the moment. They've only had the one loss. To be fair, that was against Team Bliss. But when you look at Team Bliss and the way they're going, the things that Chiefs have done, the fact that Knights have dropped to 4th, they lose this to Chiefs, and suddenly, again, you just feel like, has that aura just gone missing from this team, the spark?
Yeah, I don't think the Knights have particularly always been this extremely dominant, super scary lineup. They for the most part, are pretty quiet achievers and kind of just get the job done in a very standard manner, I guess might be one way to describe it. But yeah, I think it's fair to say that maybe that that spark that we saw in Stage 1 has diffused a little bit. But I mean, they're still a fantastic roster, and they look pretty chill as always. So
Hayward looks like he's one Bliss logo away from joining Team Bliss with that pink room set up.
I think Hayward's watching. Is Hayward watching the stream? I think he's watching the stream.
Oh, he is?
What? Is he?
I'm not sure. It's hard to say. I'm actually like, why am I bending my head to see what he's got on his screen? It ain't gonna change anything. What is going on with me? But yeah, look, they look good. They look calm. They look collected, as you would.
I think it definitely is.
Yeah.
Say hi to us in the Twitch chat, Hayward. I don't know what he's laughing at. He's probably laughing at your casting.
Oh, jeez, that's a little bit uncalled for. Look, they should be feeling pretty confident going into this one. Obviously, for the Knights, they would want a bit of revenge, wouldn't they, against the Chiefs? Knights were the team that had that grand final position, that they're in that top spot. They didn't have to run the gauntlet or anything like that, and in the end, they ended up succumbing to the Chiefs. Let's go and have a look at the map. We'll see if we can get a 4th different map. It might end up being Consulate. No, it's Clubhouse. We do go back to where we started, and Consulate again gets banned last. I can't believe it, guys. They must have heard our prayers.
I mean, yeah, I've made a couple of tweets in the last like 24, 48 hours. Again, just proclaiming my despise of Consulate, and I think, what, 3 times tonight it's been the last banned map. So look, mad respect to the teams out there. Love you all long time. So happy with that. And yeah, Clubhouse, I can't think of a better map to see these two go head to head for once. I actually have my stats ready, so let's get into that.
Let's go.
Chiefs 6-0, so really good win record for them. Not as great for the Knights, going 4-3. They did lose against Q Confirm in Stage 2 of APAC South, so maybe a little bit shaky for them. But again, it's Clubhouse, so we're going to see some pretty standard Siege in both of these teams. So disciplined, so experienced. I think we're going to be in for a real banger.
Chiefs ended up winning it 7-2 in the Oceanic Nationals Grand Final for Stage 1. That was one of the maps that did play out. Of course, there was 4 in the end. It was a 3-1 victory to the Chiefs, for those who missed it. So yeah, pretty big game. What's on the line? Well, in terms of, I guess, keeping up with Team Bliss, that's something that has got to be taken note of. You lose this, and suddenly I don't think you can overtake them. It's Chiefs and Knights, 2 top dogs outside of Team Bliss. The champions, the grand finalists from Stage 1. It is the rematch that we've been waiting for here to close out Playday 4.
Strap yourselves in. This could be some of the best Siege that we have seen so far tonight. There's been a lot of good Siege, but no doubt these two teams can produce some of the best that we see. Thatch taken off the board here first by the Chiefs, expected, as we can see down below, the most banned operator here on Clubhouse in OCN. Now that will be followed up with a hard breach, you would presume, and there we go, Maverick. That does mean that the Habana has made it through, making life a little bit easier to get hatches open, provided that the Kaid is also banned.
Valkyrie taken off the board, pretty common as well, and it feels like it'll either be the Kaid or the Mirror for the final ban here from the Chiefs, who are going to be on the defense first here for Clubhouse. Knights on the attack. And it's neither. It's the 7%, it's the Wamai, which will, I guess, make things a little bit easier in certain positions, like, you know, Rafters is going to be a little bit more susceptible to those utility, the nades and such, and I guess you'll have to, you know, bring that Jaeger.
On the balance of everything, though, this is pretty defender-sided, right? Mirror being up, particularly on bedroom, for example, basement as well to some extent, could be quite powerful. With Kaid available, you would assume that's going to be a must pick, but not for the Chiefs. They're actually going to 6-pick that onto the castle. So that would indicate that the Chiefs will dedicate to a roam on this occasion. So actually, pretty giga brain stuff here from the Chiefs, faking that out. But outside of this roam, you would anticipate Kaid is going to be very, very important.
So, grand final rematch time. If there's ever a game to be going the distance, it's probably this one. But we already, of course, had one earlier that went the distance between Order and Rafflecopter and 8-6. Everything else has actually been 7-2, 7-2. Well, I would be very surprised, guys, this goes 7-2 in either direction.
Yeah, I would be too. I am anticipating this to be a close matchup. Now, I guess a warning sign is the fact that it was quite dominant for the Chiefs in the grand final. So it is at least something to go off, but that was a while ago. Things change naturally. I do think, though, we are going to see some really high-quality siege for both of these teams. The Chiefs, I would argue, are probably more susceptible to mistakes, particularly on their attack. I mean, they don't have to worry about that for the first 6 rounds, so we can discuss that later. It's going to be up to the Knights to show the initiative here. Sage is trying to get a little aggro here on the western side and finds the first pick. Worthy. Good night. Gets taken down inside of the bathroom. Sage was stalled out a little bit there from the castle barricade, but in fact that works into his favor, and the Knights have the early man advantage.
Well, now they've got a second one. Yeah, very quickly. Josh will double up from 1 to 2. Gold Legion eliminated. 5 versus 3. Knights on the attack as well. Looking to break down this Chiefs defense. The roaming nature of it has just been picked apart pretty easily. Oh, that's a nice pick, though, from Fisher Guy. Going back upstairs towards the logistics. Gets the kill onto Hayward. Now he might push through Con. Oh, that's not ideal. Josh, fortunately, got the kill onto Digital. In a very odd position to be standing there like that. And, well, he dies pretty easily in the end. 4 versus 2. Knights again with a 2-man advantage. Now make it 3. Fisher, the last one alive, and I don't suspect he's going to be able to achieve too much.
Fisher. He's famous for playing this Moto position, but now he's caught up above. He still does find one. However, the Knights, plenty of time to readjust, plenty of time to set up for this plant. 1:10 still available to work with as Fisher desperately tries to take down that drone, but instead gets his head taken off instead. It's a good start for the Knights.
Yeah, really good start. The fact that it's on the attack as well, that's, I mean, that's a big takeaway, right? Like, the amount of attacking rounds that you can get here on Clubhouse is going to be very important. In saying that, you know, we go back to the statistic talk, and it's pretty good in terms of OCN so far. Attackers have actually been pretty good. Yeah, I'm not sure what the go was there with Digital, but yeah, attacking Clubhouse hasn't quite been too difficult for teams in OCN Stage 2, that's for sure. Definitely nothing on the lines of like Oregon or Cafe, which has like 65 and 69% defensive win rates. Clubhouse being at 44%, and that's all 3 games apiece played on all of those maps. So it does put that into perspective. But it was earlier on where Wildcard in the very first match of the day had 4 defensive rounds won, And they looked very good when doing so as well. They ended up closing it out with a quick 3-0 on their attack too. So maybe we don't want to be reading too much into the defense or the attack side of things. I think we can probably say this is just a flip of the coin. Just attack or defense, doesn't matter. As many rounds as you can get is going to be the difference maker.
Yeah, I don't think it's really going to do this match justice if we prolong discussions on hypotheticals too much. It is really a case of taking it round by round, and that's probably the attitude that both of these teams will be taking. They know deep down that either team could take this matchup, both incredibly skilled in their own right, and it does come down to which team can just focus in on each round, isolate the mistakes of their opponent and capitalize upon that. So important that we take it bit by bit. Now in this round, the Chiefs committing to an extension, and again with that Kaid on the board, that will make some of the other locations quite difficult to push. Now Dino on the Habana has a pretty important role in trying to open up Jacuzzi, for example, and Juicy as well could assist. With no Maverick on the board, opening said walls will be tricky. This one on CC, maybe not as difficult. Hayward, of course, can post himself up on the vent window, send in projectiles to clear any ADS devices, and then get that wall open without the Wamai. No additional magnets to make that more tricky. In fact, I don't think there's anything really protecting that at the moment, so if Hayward so wished, he could send in a frag grenade, and that would allow this wall to get open pretty quickly. Or you could just send Sage down below. I mean, same thing.
A bomb has been located. Time to make a new door.
The Knights, it's about making sure that they don't allow the Chiefs to get any early picks and hold that advantage for as long as possible if they can get one, and then eventually, late into the round, push onto site, almost like the wildcard way. Finally open up the CC wall. Dino does get the opening pick, and this is what I'm talking about. Now it's about, you got the next minute and 20 seconds to use this to your advantage when pushing onto the site.
Minute 15. 9 members are still up in the server. Fisher left to sit cams for the remainder of the round. God Legion in a pretty pivotal position inside of Cash. Does get droned out. Needs to be mindful that he isn't cleared. In fact, I think his sight actually blocking that line of vision. Either way, Worthy able to find a pick there onto Josh. Vast making his way up the main stairs could also pose a threat to this attack. The Knights, with only 50 seconds in hand, need to get something going pretty quickly. They do have the breaches open, but they're still yet to really apply enough pressure on the side.
Well, I think there was a player that was eventually going to push onto Sage, but fell off of it. Digital with a big Nitro Cell, taking out Hayward. 35 seconds left, and suddenly the Chiefs are the ones with the advantage, and they will extend that Vast from below. God Legion gets Juicy, and suddenly this attack for the Knights has just fallen to pieces. They stalled. Full credit to the Chiefs with their defensive pressure, and didn't succumb to the attack of the Knights. It's 1-1.
Yeah, really well played there by the Chiefs. A couple of picks, in fact, the first 2 were Nitro-style picks. So really well played. Not entirely sure, of course, what information they had, as Digital's just completely losing it for whatever reason. But yeah, well played nonetheless. Well coordinated, most critically, for the Chiefs, and capitalizing upon that. Now, unfortunately for the Knights, they did get stalled out, but these attacks will naturally be pretty tricky. I guess the most concerning thing is that they were able to get the breaches open, but then didn't capitalize upon it. I feel as if getting those walls open is probably going to be the biggest hurdle on a lot of these attacks. So if you're able to tick that box, but then not convert that over towards site control, that does raise a little bit of a red flag.
Yeah, it certainly does. But we're only 2 rounds into this match, and I think we've seen, maybe not so much tonight, but in previous weeks gone by, you can't really gain too much knowledge about the way that a match is going to play out off the back of the first 2 rounds. Sometimes we've seen teams come out and, win the first 2 rounds very convincingly, and then that's it. They don't put up much of a shot beyond that. So it's split at the moment, 1-1.
10 seconds to
About right. Head over to Cash and CCTV. Just to get a set up pretty normally here as well. Digital on the Kaid. God Legion will use those ADSs over towards top of rafters, and so far it has been very stock standard here on Clubhouse, and you probably would have expected that.
Is that a Banshee on the table in Lounge? we can get a look of that, that'd be nice. I think it was, right? Is that?
I think it's just the light
no,
reflection.
It's just the light reflection. Okay, I thought it was a Banshee lit up. Yeah, I mean, admittedly, you know, it is a little bit difficult. I mean, their stream quality is not perfect that we're casting up. I mean, it's pretty good, but not studio quality, unfortunately. I mean, I can't even remember what studio quality feeds look like. It's been that long, but either way, my bad. Now, one thing I did want to mention that is a little bit easier to see is Vast on the dock. Now, I presume that he'll be posted up on the garage rafters, and he can continue to boost himself up, which would be the play. And yeah, that's in fact where he will post up the 1.5 MP5. He could do some gnarly damage, and he does have a couple of ADS devices to support him. Now, as you mentioned, Xenox, without the Wamai on the board, it could, I guess, compromise this position a little bit, but not impossible. Sage, though, he's at the top of main stairs, and he might be able to push deep.
Very well could. Sage, unfortunately losing to Digital, but there's the trade from Dino who gets a second, just rips the head off the Fisher guy. Gets a third, why not? Dino, just keep going. It's working.
Oh, come on.
Can he get the quad? Looks for the wall bang, falls short, unfortunately has a bit of help in hand from Josh. And Josh will finish off what Dino started. The two of them combining for all 5 kills of the Chiefs, and a very clean round there for the Knights.
Well, if you don't want to deal with the Kaid and you don't want to deal with the walls or the mini games or anything like that, why not just send it up the main stairs, pinch over towards Con, and get it done in the frag department. Clean and efficient there from the Knights.
Certainly was. Dino, the one that really kick-started it off, that big kill into Fisher guy, and was able to end that spray on the Vast. Honestly, could have even got the quad. It's a team game, and he's happy to share it with Josh, and they both combine by eliminating the Chiefs together. 2 attacking rounds now for the Knights. We head back down to the basement for Church and Arsenal for the Chiefs, looking to tie it up 2-2.
Back down below we go. Now, last time the Chiefs 6-picked off the Kaid onto the Castle, and again, the Castle will see some playtime, so we would assume the Chiefs will once again commit to a roam. Now, I gotta say, I'm a little surprised by that. I did believe that when we saw the bans come through, I mean, namely the Thatcher and the Maverick making those attacks really tricky, that Kaid was going to see a lot of play, and we'd probably see a bit more of a conservative defense where you really force the attack into clearing out those claws in tricky to find places. But the Chiefs instead electing to be a little bit more proactive, a little bit more aggressive. We'll have to see whether it pays off though.
Yeah, and it very much is round by round, right? Like as you said before, don't probably want to get into those sort of hypotheticals too much. Fast. Side of storage. And I think the way that the Knights are playing this right now is really, really good to watch. It is that mix of slow pace, but also at times they can hit that go button, and like we saw with that last round for round number 3, can just send it in very quickly. And what that does is it keeps the Chiefs' defense sort of on their toes, right? Constantly guessing. Are they pushing in? Are they going slow? What do we got to do? And it just keeps that mind ticking over. And the Chiefs are a good enough team, though, that they understand that they need to continue to also be proactive and to be aggressive and to look to make things happen, like Vast is trying to do over towards Garage.
That breach open could pose a risk to the attack. Vast probably not wanting to peek it and realizes that he has been droned out. The gig is up. He needs to fall back. Only 5 drones left, though, however, for the Knights with a minute 40 on the board. That is something that they'll need to be mindful of. Drone economy, always important in Siege. Of course, if they can play off the intel that is available, then they might be able to find a couple of picks. That said, Chiefs, I think, have fallen back to side already. All 5 members back down below. And honestly, that's job done. At least a couple of minutes wasted here for the attack, making things pretty difficult now for the Knights to convert.
Minute 5 on the clock. As it ticks down, Knights still 5v5 on the attack. That's ideal for basement attack. You want the numbers in your favor, and what better than to get the opening pick through Haid with the nade. Digital trying to trick that hatch. But I think he's just going to have to eventually give it up. He's only got So many nades, and yeah, he's only got one more.
A bomb has been located.
It has been opened up now.
Time though now. Bit of a concern for the Knights. They have 30 seconds left and they do have lines of sight. Patches popped. It will have to be a really clean execute. No margin for error here, particularly in the time department. Everything from here on out needs to be basically flawless.
I know, very low as well. That's going to be the first pick. Fast onto Juicy. Worthy gets sat down though. Nice trade here for the Knights. They are in red time. Only 10 seconds on the clock as the trades continue to ring out, which is a good news for the Knights considering they had the original pick, but now it swings into the favor of the Chiefs. And Digital will get the final kill of the round, and the Chiefs will tie it up 2-2.
Ooh, that was clean. Look, a little... Digital keeping the sponsors happy. Good to see. Good man. But yeah, obviously that late round there, really difficult to track. A lot going on, a lot of trades. I think the most potent thing, or poignant part of that round rather for the Chiefs is kind of the first minute and a half where there were no kills. And I know that's a bit silly to say. I mean, guys, there were no kills. How is it important? But it was the fact that the Chiefs were able to bleed so much time at the start. No fault of the Knights. They have to be due diligent and make sure the top four is clear. But the Chiefs rotated down so early and were able to fortify themselves down below. And yes, it was pretty close at the end there, but the Knights were pressured by the clock. They weren't able to hit as many trades as they would have liked. And having 5 members up so deep into the round was what won the round there.
Yeah, it certainly did. It has been back and forth like we kind of expected between these two teams, and I would imagine the second half will play out the same way. I don't see why that would change. 2 rounds to go in this opening half, though. Kind of feels like a 3-3 half is brewing. It is probably the direction we are heading, that if that's the expectation, whoever can get to 4-2 maybe suddenly puts themselves in the driver's seat going into the second half. We'll see which team that could be, or if 3-3 will be the play. 2 rounds left, 2-2. It's as close as it can get for a best-of-1 grand final rematch.
Well, the Knights, they'll spawn on the eastern side, or at least begin that side, get to work on the CC wall and mount their attack from there. The Knights did a pretty good job last time in opening up the walls. It was mainly a case of being able to, not being able rather, to actually convert that into site control. So that's something that we need to track in this round. And of course the last round, time management was also a key factor. So something else to gauge as well. Pretty stock standard so far. Hayward, of course, pops the hatch. Dino can create a line of sight in towards Con to make that rotation a little bit more precarious. The more important minigames will start to come through right now. CC wall needs to be opened. We saw Sage go below and use an Ash charge to clear that last time. Hayward, of course, could pop it with the grenade. We'll see which option they take.
And again, another slow approach to this round in this 5th round, as it has been for everything bar round 3. Player at top red stairs, not going to peek towards Sage, who's
Attackers have located a bomb.
expecting the flank down below from blue. That's Vast at top red. So he just wants to get control below. Oh, there is that pick now from Vast. It ended up coming eventually, and that's a big pick. Fortunately, Knights would have retraded immediately.
Four versus 4. Gold Legion inside of Cash. Does have the mute chamber to protect him. Drone hole provides a line of sight towards that attacker, creeping towards main stairs. Can Gold Legion hit the shot? He does. That's Juicy taken down on the swing, but Josh trades it back. So low on HP, can't afford to go through that Sawyer gate. It's really going to be on Dino to go big here. He's the only player left with full HP, but the Chiefs in a great position.
34 seconds left, and again, just feels tense and tight between both of these two teams. Don't want to count out anyone. Dino's already had some pretty big plays and some pretty big shots. But Josh is so low. And unfortunately, that's going to be the end of Dino. Oh, never mind. He hits yet another big 180 shot. It's just like that. Josh also finding a pick on the digital elsewhere, and it's Busher guy in a 1 versus 2.
10 seconds to go.
And he's dead. And that's the round.
Wow.
That's why I said anything can happen. What a shot from Dino. If he doesn't hit that 180 towards the player on main stairs, guys, Chiefs win the round. It's as simple as that.
I need a replay. Someone play a replay of that round, thanks.
That's why we have him.
I don't know how the Knights brought that back. I mean, I kind of was just chilling back. Oh yeah, this round's basically over, right? But no.
Look at this.
Knights not going down without a fight. Oh, that's
Jeez.
dirty. That's not on. And then this final kill as well. I think that was a straight bang there through the little wooden bookshelf thingy for Bobby. Yeah, I'm a bit startled, honestly. I thought that round was basically over. Dino was going to hit the 1v3 or have to hit the 1v3 to be any chance there at all, but somehow they made it work.
Credit to the Knights. That's why you never count this team out. That's why you also never count out the Chiefs, because both of these two teams can just do some crazy things late in rounds and turn bad situations good very quick. Dino 6-2, Josh 8-2. Incredible start for those two on the attack here for the Knights. They've been honestly fantastic to watch.
10
The
seconds.
Chiefs defense, well, it's either going to be taken apart or a 3-3 means that they break even. It's going to be cash and CCTV for the final round of this first half.
Locate a bomb and defuse it.
Well, again, that Kaid is going to play a big role in how this round is going to shape up. Opening up these hard breach walls will be quite challenging. That said, the Knights, for the most part, are doing a pretty decent job in actually countering those electro claws, and time management in the early round has actually been quite decent. It has mainly been the late round where it has been falling apart. That said, in the previous round, we saw an inkling of what these players can muster up, which is definitely something special when the occasion calls for it. God Legion trapped now in bedroom behind the mattress. The Knights could try and capitalize upon this and find an early pick, but God Legion at least finds some refuge in Babu.
Just a little bit more action here early on in this final round of the first half. Hayward sensing he can find the wall bang through the logistics wall into Con, but not gonna happen. Big moment here for the Chiefs because you don't want to go down 4-2. The Knights will then switch over to their defense here on Clubhouse. Sage got to be careful, maneuvering his way through Bar, and in the end, it's Worthy coming from the bottom of main stairs, throws out that Nitrous Salt, doesn't find Hayward up in logistics, but it's an advantage for the Chiefs. This time they need to capitalize though.
Ooh, 3-5 now. Prey does come out from Juicy for the 5-5-6. God Legion eventually is cut off. Juicy going big in this round, so there's 2 academics to work with as well. So his impact could everlast in this round. Still a lot that he could muster up. That said, that wall to his right is electrocuted inside of Con, so opening that will be pretty tough. Instead, the Knights will likely need to try and send it deep here and hope that they can trade out these bits.
Tense standoff here, 40 seconds, 3 versus 3, 3-2 on the scoreboard, and Worthy with a big shot, and he gets a second as well, 3 for the round, Bust to close the half. It's 3-3. This game seriously could not get any tighter.
Well, we thought this would be a close matchup, and if you look at the top of your screen, that's why. 3-3 at the half, heading into round number 7. Sides will switch. And the Knights now will go on to what we thought would be the favoured side, the defense. But clearly, the first half had other things in mind, and we are very, very even at the moment.
Yeah, and it's about right. I think both teams probably deserve to be in this position, right? 3-3. Two of the best teams in the region. As close as it can get. Grand final rematch. Knights probably would have preferred this sort of gameplay and this sort of match in Stage 1's grand final, because that was a 7-2 victory for the Chiefs on Clubhouse, so it's definitely feeling a lot closer here. Chiefs not riding the momentum that they had on that special day for them, but nonetheless, this has been a back and forth affair. Knights over to the defense, Chiefs over to the attack. We bring up the stats one more time. 55% attack sided, 44% defender sided on Clubhouse for Oceanic Nationals. Make of that as you will. Stats don't always tell the story. But for the Chiefs, if they do want to go off of that, they should feel confident here in the second half.
Mate, what did you say? Did you say 55 and what was the other number?
44.
Where'd the other 1% go?
55.6, 44.4.
Thank you. Well, you don't do math on broadcast.
No.
Well, for once I was right, so that's a nice change of pace. Jokes aside though, the Chiefs looking to make sure that the top floor is clear, rightly so. Josh roaming above, Hayward as well on rafters. Arguably not as much of investment as we saw from the Chiefs on their roam attempt. No Castle, for example, being employed. That said, there still could be danger. Dino as well, missed him. He's on the top floor inside of logistics. Hayward does find one. That's Vast taken off the board. And in fact, Vast is probably the best operator in clearing out this room, being the Jackal.
Yeah, I feel like Knights have been the team that's constantly finding these picks and getting these advantages. Doesn't always necessarily translate into a round win, but they've just been a little bit better at finding it. And you know, you think back to the way that Chiefs sort of played this on their defense. They lost 2 players almost like immediately. Dino so aggressive at the bottom of this logistics hatch. Expecting someone from the Chiefs to peek it. Digital, probably the kind of player to die here. It's so unfortunate. Yeah, he's dead. So,
Dig, come on, drone that!
Oh no! Double for Dino. God Legion's dead. That's the round. Let's move on.
Yeah, next. We don't have to talk about that, Dig, don't worry. Wow, that round is okay. There's been a couple of those rounds. I mean, for the most part, this has been pretty hotly contested. We're seeing a lot of the usual mini games be quite tight and a couple of late round executes, but there has also been a couple of doozies, that being one of them. And despite not having that castle on the board, it really didn't matter. Those players didn't even have to rotate off the roam and have that additional protection. They were able to situate themselves in pretty sneaky positions on the top floor. And for one reason or another, I guess one of those being the Jackal taken down first, the Chiefs found it difficult to locate where those roamers were and clear them. So you've just got to put a line through that round. Don't worry about it too much, because heading over towards Cash and CC is going to play out completely differently. Don't have to worry as much about that roam clear.
Good start to the second half as well for the Knights, because that was convincing. Very, very convincing. Yeah, there's some little mistakes there from the Chiefs, but they capitalized, they pounced. Dino is sharp. And I think he's almost like the barometer of the team, right? If Dino's firing up and he's hitting his shots, and it's not just the fact that he's getting kills, it's the shots he's actually hitting, guys. 8 and 3, he's hit some nutty flick shots. And as I said, when he's up and about and he's in form, the Knights as a team are very tough to stop.
The Knights looking to get their revenge against the Chiefs, who of course struck them down in the Stage 1 Grand Final for Oceanic National. Quite a close matchup that was, and I guess a bit of a rivalry now established between the two. The Knights putting the best foot forward in the second half. Again, we're going to see Vast enter early here, this time over towards Strip Club, and he can aid in roaming anyone that is down below. Now, I did say that the roam clear might not be as important on this objective, but if the Knights want to play a bit cheeky down below, then it can play a part. Sage is anticipating someone to push through dirt, but he needs to be mindful of his main stairs. That's likely where Vast is going to try and enter from, and Sage is being pretty vigilant here. Now, I don't know exactly how he got to this position, based on there being no footprints here. It probably would have had to be an oil pit or secret stairs. My point being that Vast isn't going to see these footprints. Does see some though. That's Dino up above to his left. Fast is playing this very, very cautiously, but rightly so.
Yeah, a lot of time on the clock though, right? I mean, there's no real rush here for the Chiefs. They can play as cautious as they like, especially for cash CCTV. A lot of the action's going to be late in the round. The longer they do take, though, the biggest thing is clearing out Hayward. If they're going to be going for a garage push and a garage take, they're going to have to clear out Hayward at some point, and they're going to have to do it without God Legion, because somewhere, somehow, Juicy's just found the pick. Bottom of red stairs? We're all lost. I'm just going off where Juicy was, so that's all I know. But either way, let's move on. Minute on the clock. It just feels like Chiefs have stalled a little bit, Guz.
Yeah, it's a bit like that. Digital trying to clear Sage. Garage stairs. Does fall, though. It's a good pinch alongside Worthy to get it back to a 4-on-4. That is the in that the Chiefs needed in that round. In this round, with Sage taken down, they can try and take Garage, but Hayward says, no, I'm still here on the rafters, finds that pick. It is, however, another good trade. The Chiefs keeping this one close.
I mean, as every round feels like it has been, Hayward, you've got to be hitting those shots from the top of rafters. He loses his position. He loses his life. And he puts the round to the hands of Josh and Juicy to salvage things for the Knights. Chiefs suddenly with the advantage. With only 20 seconds left, though, it still means that the Knights are in a position where they can take this round, gain a bit of an ascendancy and a bit of a lead. Worthy, though, with a triple kill.
10 seconds to go.
Josh gets one back if he can deny the diffuser or if he can just keep his position safe. He walks straight into Josh's hands. Josh, you've just got to stay alive. He plays it perfectly. The Knights steal the round. It was a 3v1, Guz. A 3v1, but time was on the side of the Knights.
Oh, high pressure there in the dying seconds of that round for the Knights. Unfortunate for the Chiefs, who despite being stalled out a little bit there, were able to recover. They were trading out so nicely. But right when they needed the trading to be perfect, it just wasn't quite there. Really well played by the Knights. And they are edging closer towards gaining that match point.
Tactical timeout, of course, no real surprise off the back of that round. I mean, that's the sort of round where now you've got to take that timeout, reset things, go over... You either have to go over what went wrong, but probably more than anything, just maybe look ahead. Or even just take a bit of a breather. Yeah, it's hard to envision, I think, forward for the Chiefs, how they get back into this one, because it's been that close tussle, Guz. It's been that back and forth, and now suddenly Knights got a bit of daylight. So how do you claw that back?
I think it's just a composure thing. The Chiefs, I mean, historically, and I know it's something that we bang on a little bit about, can sometimes get in their own heads, it feels like, and make some, you know, mistakes that just shouldn't be happening. I would argue that last round was probably one of those. I mean, don't get me wrong, 100% well played there by Josh, but the fact that it wasn't traded out is a little bit disappointing. Oh well, I mean, this happens, mistakes happen. Rounds like this sometimes just don't go your way. The important thing for the Chiefs is to realize that then by no means, I mean, out of this, right? A couple of rounds and they're equalizing their opponents. So all they need to do now is just link one attack together. No doubt that these bans are making it really, really tricky, but I mean, you've got to throw everything you have at this. The Knights, they're also throwing everything they have. They're bringing the Chanka in this round. We're also going to see some hero play, and that's going to spice things up.
So a 2-round advantage for the Knights. On the defense here, looking pretty good, looking pretty sound, and it's, well, the Josh show now on the Tachanka, as you said. 11-3. There's been some really standout performances tonight for Playday 4, guys. I mean, if you think about all of the matches, you know, you go back to Rafflecopter, it was like the Nate and Boydie show. Bliss had some big moments, Jigsaw going huge, and now it's the Josh show. So, I mean, I tell you what, MVP tonight is going to be a tough one to pick.
Yeah, this is going to be pretty tricky. I feel like tonight there's been quite a few players just stepping up. We also had Jigsaw in the last series go pretty big. Yeah, really fun to see. Fast. Rocking the new DZ skin. Looking pretty cool. He's going to try and get an entry point over towards the eastern side of the map. Now, again, with that Kaid on the board, opening walls will be quite tricky. Maybe Vast can accelerate that process by taking swift control of Garage. Needs to be careful of his flanks, however. No dedicated flank watch brought by the Chiefs. Instead, they'll need to be reliant on drones. With good control of rafters now, however, the Chiefs will likely be able to work CC wall pretty swiftly, if they haven't already, and that can start to mount an attack.
That's one way to mount your attack. Easy kill for Varstage, just caught napping. Not suspected the push through oil pit will be his undoing, but it was. Chiefs with a man advantage. And now they can bring their attention back over to Gym Bedroom. Dino playing the aggressive position inside of Cash, and that drone is being very, very pesky. As he has to finally get to 4 drones left for the Chiefs, minute and a half. And, well, this is where we need to see Josh get involved on the Tachanka, because the down 2 players, Vast getting the kill onto Hayward.
Has been a sketchy start here for the defense, but maybe someone can step up here for the Knights. That grenade was precarious, but Dino will survive. These players now inside of Cash, trapped, isolated from the objective. If the Chiefs play this well, they can cut off the con rotation and it'll make life very, very difficult as Josh and Dino try and get back towards site. Now, Josh has gotten unscathed, at least for the meantime, and that is potentially a misplay for the Chiefs to allow that to happen. That said, Dino is still isolated. If they get it to the 5-on-2, I mean, the round is surely theirs, right?
Well, I think Dino dies here. The question is, does he get anyone? The answer is no. Digital pushing in, he gets the kill, he gets the frag, and Gold Legion gets Juicy, and it's down to the Tachanka. He's got them all in his sights. The Mirror obviously proving to be effective here, but he is the solo in a 1 versus 5. I don't care how good you are, it ain't happening. Flawless from the Chiefs as they come out of that tactical timeout looking pretty clean.
Yeah, smiles all around there for the Chiefs, and they prevent the Knights from doing a round-the-world trip, and most importantly, prevent them from getting match point as well. So a pretty critical round there for the Chiefs. They managed to get the job done. The early round, really strong, able to isolate a couple of picks, which makes life really difficult on that extension on the defense. As I said, if you get isolated over towards Cash, it is, yeah, basically a case of you're going to die. How many picks can you find? And the Knights struggling to find any. In fact, of course, it was flawless for the Chiefs. Now, this is spicy. Fast, 6 picking. Oh, I thought he was going to 6 pick onto the Montang. That would have been awesome. We haven't seen any Montang play so far tonight, and Vast historically has been quite strong on the Monty, but maybe we'll have to wait a little bit longer before we see that.
Yeah, and this is where the Chiefs now can put a little bit of doubt into the Knights' mind if they can make this 5-5 here in the 10th round. Otherwise, 6-4 for the Knights. You get 2 match points on the defense. They'll be feeling comfortable. No tactical timeout available for the Chiefs either, so I would probably say if the Chiefs win this round, and I'm the Knights, I'd probably take my tactical timeout at that point to try and get all 3 points. That's the biggest takeaway that we have to remember here, is that there's an opportunity for one of these 2 teams at some point. Someone's going to get a match point. To get all 3 points in this matchup for either team is huge. And we're getting closer to that point of the match.
Another extension here for the defense that the Chiefs will need to deal with. Now, keep in mind, last time Vast was playing, the Jackal was taken down and made that process quite tricky. On this occasion, the Jackal not even being picked. Instead, Vast relying on the Geminis to clear out those locations. Again, assuming that the Chiefs are going to go for this roam clear, and early routing would suggest that will be the case. Cheeky drone placement there on the vent inside a garage. Gold Legion doing a good job at hiding that. I mean, obviously Hayward heard it. That's why he was looking in that location, but nonetheless unable to clear it. That can watch his rotation and the rotation of his teammates later on in this round.
This has just been a really, really good game to watch from both of these 2 teams. And, you know, minus a few little mistakes here or there, it's been pretty clean. And I think holds both teams in good stead as we get closer to the playoffs. You know, we're past the halfway mark. I think Hayward just got caught there for a second. Yeah, and he's going to get flushed out as well. Digital having a very good game, 7 of 4. Minus that mistake earlier at Logistics Hatch, and it was Caster Curse him there with Josh getting the immediate retrade. Minute and a half. It's 5-4, 4 versus 4.
Now, there is a bulletproof camera actually in the western side of CC placed on the little cabinet there. Now, I'm not sure if the Chiefs cleared it, but nonetheless, it could feed the defense some pretty critical information here. Now, I couldn't quite see the scope covering it there, but nonetheless, Josh seems pretty aware that Gold Legion is here. In fact, knows it for sure, but Gold Legion still wins the fight, and there we go, bulletproof will be taken down. So it's a good clear from the Chiefs, positioning themselves very nicely to deny the match point from the Knights.
Yeah, tough to see the Knights winning it from here. Really, really good effort from the Chiefs to clear out this roam game from the Knights, and the fact that there's only 2 players left, one of them not even on site. Juicy trying to see if he can get an early kill and then go back through dirt over to the site. If he does find a player, if someone from the Chiefs does go towards dirt, he will die, and it will make it a 2 versus 3. But I suspect, it's just not going to happen. No one's going to make their way over there. Has to come back over to the site, and yeah, now they're going to be at that 2-4 disadvantage. Fast with the drone in. There's so many drones still available for the Chiefs as well inside the final 15 seconds.
They do have to be a little bit mindful of time. 15 seconds left as we enter the red zone, but the Knights with a strongman disadvantage, it's going to be tough for them to hold on. Sage Center deep inside of Church, but gets taken down as he tries to cover for the rest of his team. I mean, only Juicy left to cover 4, but he gets cleaned up pretty easily there by the Chiefs in the end. Once again, the round was won at the start there. The early round clear from the Chiefs is strong, and you can see that they're happy with that result.
Yeah, as they should be. Digital looks pumped. He's having a good game. That's some big shots, some good stats, and the Chiefs obviously are a team that's not going to go down easy. Even when they've got a 2-round deficit, they fight back, they get 2 rounds themselves, and it's 5-5. Break point. Next round, we'll get match point and an opportunity to get all 3 points. And that's the thing I love about this format, guys, is that the winner of this round secures 1 point at least. Like, you get something for winning this particular round right now here in round 11.
Yeah, 100%. It places really critical importance on gaining that match point advantage, and I guess the ball is currently in the Chiefs' court after that last round where they were quite strong. That said, though, the Knights in their first rotation did a decent job in holding out the attacks, so we'll see whether or not they can replicate that form and match point themselves, but I'm sure we can probably both agree, I mean everyone watching can probably agree that this has shaped up to be a really exciting matchup, a really close matchup, and I guess truly deserving of that title of being the grand final rematch, and we are truly seeing 2 really good teams go at it.
Yeah, and I think you've put it out perfectly there, guys. This is what you would expect from a grand final rematch. I would have been actually very disappointed if either team defeated either team comprehensively.
Yeah.
So the fact that it's 5-5, 5 versus 5, round 11, this is what we anticipated. It's what we deserved. And yeah, no, credit to both of these 2 teams. This is really what they would want to see as well. There's obviously mutual respect between the 2 teams, and off the back of Stage 1's grand final, you can, well, I was about to say you can say they're the best 2 teams in the region, but hey, the way that Team Bliss are going right now, they're in that conversation. But this has been so good to watch, and yeah, Digital looks like he's playing with confidence at the moment.
Yeah, and on-fight Digital can definitely be pretty scary. Now, we did have a pre-placed drone down below, and he can play off that confidently to gain control. No one from the Knights contesting that. Gold Legion posted up inside of blue as well, providing additional coverage, and the Knights willing to forfeit that. I don't think anyone's playing too aggressively off-site. Dino was roaming actually on the Vigil. He's on the western side over towards Bedroom, but doesn't really have a noticeable impact in the early phase of this round. The Chiefs from below can clear that Kaid. Electro Claw on the wall. Isho able to pop that open for free, exposing Hayward on rafters.
Minute and a half, and as has been this best of 1 series, it's been close, but it's also been kind of slow early on in these rounds. No team wanting to put a foot wrong. Hayward needs to defend that top rafters position quite a bit better than he did last time. He honestly went down pretty easily and has actually been struggling quietly. 4 and 10. Josh, though, with the opening pick onto Worthy. That's going to help things for the Knights. It's been the Chiefs' show. Oh, perfectly placed nade from Vast. Hayward just can't have anything go his way in this match.
Really good utilities usage there from the Chiefs, who now have the advantage. Digital is on fire in this game, having so many impactful frags. That one gives his team the advantage with 35 seconds on the board. Now the Knights under the pump. They need to try and hold on, prevent this execute from coming through.
Oh, the nade just goes a little bit too far. Josh with the kill onto Fisher Guy. Digital still loitering around down below in Lounge. He's now going to look to push up red stairs, but Juicy's watching and waiting. I think he might have given his red dot position away. Doesn't matter. Digital pushed up. Digital goes down. Oh, Juicy, the timing. He would have been able to get the kill with the SMG-11 throughout the gas bay. Josh is down. 8 seconds left. There's not really that much time. Vast is going to have to stick to plant. Nitrocell from Sage. Oh, it's perfect. Vast is gone. He's been obliterated. 1 versus 1. Knights win the round. That was as close as it could get.
And that is so unlucky there for the Yana. I presume it was Vast playing her, runs right on to the Nitro Cell. Had he have planted in the default position, that wouldn't have happened. Now, that's not, by any means, a dig at Vast. That is just completely unlucky for him. That's just the way the cookie crumbled, but wow, such a close round, but the Knights do a fantastic job to just scrape on by.
Oh, what a Nitrocell. What a round. What a match between these two teams. 6-5, match point Knights. They secure 1 point. But we know that they want all 3, which would put them on 9 points into firm second place, and only 3 points behind the leaders, Team Bliss. But of course, Knights don't have the head-to-head. They lost to Team Bliss. So this is probably good news for Team Bliss fans out there. They want the Knights to win, because it's very unlikely that Knights will overtake Team Bliss unless they capitulate in the final 3 playdays. The Chiefs, on the other hand, guys, if the Chiefs can somehow pull through, get the 2 points, because they can't get all 3 anymore, they would go to 9 points. And obviously, as we know, Bliss and Chiefs still play later on in Playday 7. So there's a bit of the circumstances outside of the game as well that do come into the picture.
I guess the ultimate result here for Team Bliss fans and the Team Bliss roster would be if the Knights win this in overtime. That way they don't gain as many points as they would have liked, give Bliss a bit of a buffer, but at the same time they don't allow the Chiefs to get too close. So, I mean, I think that would probably be mathematically the best result for Bliss, but either way, I have no doubt neither of these teams really care about that. They want to try and get this next round, and Hayward, very proactive here with the Nitro Cell. Both of those drones go by, but he does eventually get spotted. Unfortunate that we probably won't see this play work. Hayward still uses the Nitro. Not sure if that was probably the play. I mean, it was a good attempt, but unfortunately doesn't hit the mark, and that's 1 less Nitro to use later in the round.
Who did you tip again, guys? Was it Chiefs?
I
think it was.
Come on, Didge. Go big.
He's been going big. Well, as big as 8 and 6 can be. It feels like it's been more impactful than that. Vast is actually the one with the numbers to back it up. 11, 6, and 5. Of course, it's kills, deaths, assist now for these scoreboards. It's been a rough one, actually, for both Juicy and Hayward. Fortunately for them, Josh is playing in a different stratosphere at 14 and 6. Has Dino as well at 8 and 7. But yeah, the Knights, it's been a little scrappy, but same can be said for the Chiefs at times as well. Minute and a half, still 5 versus 5. Knights are going full turtle mode down below into basement.
Vertical being established here by Didge, as Worthy can place X-Kairos using the launcher on towards that kitchen hatch. Eventually that will be opened up. Lots of utility available to the attack, but only 3 drones that can be used in the remaining minute to gain critical intel. On the side of the defense, they only have 1 Nitro left to try and ignite that plant, but a bulletproof camera can no doubt provide some information. Deployable shield, increasing some of that coverage as well. Down below. This is shaping up to be a close round to potentially decide what has been a close matchup. Now, it is often that we see executes on this side in a 5v5, but this will no doubt be pretty chaotic. Vast uses the last, I believe, of his Geminis, or one of the last of his Geminis, to gain a little bit of critical intel in towards blue, but still, no one has fallen.
Down to the final 25 seconds. Match point Knights. Chiefs looking to send this to overtime. Digital looking down that corridor, but yet to find anything. It's Vast with the opening pick, but it's a trade from Hayward. Sage, good pick. He's able to stay alive as well. That keeps Knights with the advantage. But now, Gold Legion, half health. Now he's dropped down. This is going the way of the Knights. Maybe only momentarily, though, but it's only 5 seconds on the clock. Chiefs need to get moving. Fisher Guy's going to be able to stick the plant. He dies for it, though. Worthy has the plant down. Sage has very little health, but he has already had his position be made whereabouts. Dino gets on it. He will get taken off of it, though. Worthy's playing this well. Under the pressure. Under the pump. Sage gets on it, but Worthy with a headshot onto Hayward. He's got 3 for the round. He only needs to get Sage for the quad to send this to overtime, and he's got 20 seconds. Sage has no health. 1 bullet will get the job done. This might be a moment for Xenox's chop of the week if they lose it from here, and they do! Chiefs go to OT. What a play! We aren't Worthy.
What a play from Worthy. The 1v3 post-plant clutch. It does not get much better than that. What a massive play from Worthy. We know he is one of the best in the region, and he proves it once again. The Knights, though, you have to send players above in that post-planning kitchen.
Why are they
You're not going to win it from
up
below.
One by one to get on the diffuser?
I know things happen in the heat of the moment, but you very, very rarely see a post-plant one from down below unless you hit nutty shots up above. That didn't happen. You have to send bodies above. You've got 3. Just send them in. Like, oh,
Guz is losing it.
Oh, well, no, I'm not losing. I'm happy because I want the Chiefs to win for my prediction. But no, look, shit happens. That's probably the most polite way to put it. Ah, well, it was a great clutch from Worthy.
Well, we go to overtime, and this match is fitting of it. 6-6. Deserved. But Knights will be left ruining that. And we've seen it earlier on tonight, guys. I don't want to remind any Order fans that maybe you're watching, but they themselves had a position that they were in that they should have got the 3 points. And you know what they ended up with? 1. Because they ended up losing in OT. Right? Like, this is the takeaway here. This is now the Chiefs resetting the momentum, and it's on their side now coming into overtime. They're on the defense. They go down to Church Arsenal. And boy, this has just been a fantastic game.
Sure has. It's been incredibly tight between these two. Very difficult to split them. Probably should be Knights claiming victory at this point, but Worthy going big. 13-7 so far in this match. Cannot complain about that. Back downstairs we go. The Chiefs now on the defense. They're the ones that need to try and drain down this clock. Now, we have seen so far in regulation the Chiefs committing to a pretty aggressive roam off site, trying to deny as much time as possible. On this occasion, though, they are taking a pretty different approach, instead hunkering down in towards the site.
Yeah, and we saw the Knights do this as well in literally the last round that we just saw, right? 5-man turtle on site. They basically offered nothing above. And Knights got the opening pick, and then trades went out, and as we know, they ended up throwing a 3v1, and well, Chiefs will hope that the same thing doesn't happen here. Knight yourself fast. That's... what? I was going to say that was going to miss, but it got Dino. Dino's down as well.
That's huge.
Well, I mean, it's going to reset his health a little bit, right? Like, I think he was even lower than if he gets picked up.
To more,
yeah, that's actually that works out well. Still not ideal with 1:20 to go, but hey, he's alive. He's fine.
Yeah, the Chiefs will be reaping at that opportunity. If they drop Habana, particularly on this attack, that makes it really, really difficult. So the Knights lucky to get away with that one. Nonetheless,
bomb has
Now
been
continue to go through their checklist. Only 1 minute left on the board. Now, the kitchen hatch has been electrified. That will need to be dealt with if they want to open that up. A lot of effort being put on the main church wall, which in itself has also been electrified, at least somewhat. Hayward, elsewhere, finds the first pick. That's Digital, taken off the board. I believe that was inside of church with a grenade. Nonetheless, Josh also finds one, and the Knights recovering nicely from that early blunder.
The earlier blunder being that last round, and more so than anything, God Legion gets the easy kill onto Sage. 3 versus 3, 33 seconds on the clock. If you're a numerology fan, you like your numbers, Josh. Maybe making a late play of things for the MVP of the night here. Juicy's down, out for the count. Worthy, Chiefs, they are brewing up a storm here. An upset maybe on Clubhouse. 2 versus 2 coming down to the wire. It's Vast taking out Hayward. God Legion and Vast, the loss of a live God Legion with the kill. Chiefs have now got overtime match point. Vast.
What was that?
I don't even know. 2 match points in the back pocket for the Chiefs, looking to steal 2 points away from the Knights in what would be a calamity from where they once were.
Oh, the Chiefs. Wow. They are absolutely on fire in the last couple of rounds, and the momentum that Worthy has instilled in the roster off the back of that clutch is no doubt carrying them now through this overtime so far. A good comeback in that round, and the Knights left a little bit startled. This game should be over. We should be interviewing Juicy right now, asking how they won that match. But
Look, they look starstruck.
I don't know if they're startled or is this just the normal
I don't
Knights?
know. Is Dino's cam frozen as well? It has to be.
No, he's just shocked.
Oh, I'm just imagining him sitting there like that permanently with that face. Oh no. Well, if there's ever a time to have a tactical timeout, now is that time, and they've used it. And well, look, it's about trying to turn things around and find that happy place again. They've got to win the next 2 rounds in a row. Otherwise, not the night for the Knights in the end, Guz.
The Knights will dig deep, though. I have no doubt. They are the team of all in OCN that really, I think, embody that sort of mentality and attitude that it's 1 round at a time, or it's 1 game at a time, whatever the case may be, 1 stage at a time. They never look further ahead than they really need to, so I don't see any reason why they're going to feel too much pressure heading in to this next round. I guess the main thing would be trying to put aside what happened in the last couple of rounds, and the fact that they did unfortunately falter a little bit and not allowing that to play into their minds. Of course, there's nothing you can do to change those results. There's no point worrying about that too much. Now you have to be in the present, try to convert this next round. When you have the defense, you statistically have the advantage. You're on a site that you've been confident on so far in regulation. There's no reason why you shouldn't be able to convert another result here.
Yeah, definitely agree with you. This is Chiefs' game to lose now. I can't believe I've said those words, but it's the truth. The Knights had a 6-5 lead. They had match point. They had 3 versus 1. That was the moment. Worthy stood up to the plate and honestly hit 1 for 6. I think I just combined baseball and cricket into one, but hey, it's been that kind of game. Why not? Fisher guy hasn't quite been able to have too much of an impact, 4 and 11, but that's fine. He's got his different roles. This is where, if the Chiefs can get this opening pick, I think the Knights might just honestly fall by the wayside.
Still 10 drones available as well for the Chiefs. I have no doubt that will serve them well later into the round. It is 9 now,
9.
as I say that, so I did cast a curse that, unfortunately, but still plenty to work with. And if the Chiefs want to go for a western sweep across, those drones will be useful in making sure everything is clear. Dino, of course, was applying a little bit of pressure earlier, now resorting back to Con. Needs to be mindful, though, that he doesn't get cut off fast, and Logi could have posed a threat. But Dino makes it back to Cash, and now he can play behind that chassis for the remainder of the round.
Bomb located by attackers.
Minute 25, pressure now on the Knights. Hayward has not really been able to make that rafters position all too comfortable. He's been cleared out of there a couple of times now with ease from the Chiefs, but they're going to work through Con for now. Eventually, I mean, there's only a minute left, but you kind of suspect at some point they may rotate over towards Garage, but they've got CC wall open. It may end up being a CC wall and Con push. But no real action taking place at all yet.
Ooh, that's cheeky. God, Legion knows that there is a player on the rafters now. I believe that's Hayward based on the helmet. It is Jaeger, of course, 8 and 13 so far. Hayward can step up though when required. In fact, he has been one of the best players in the region. God, Legion. He's going to go for a solo play here. He could just sneak in, swing wide, find the pick, and he does. That is huge from the Chiefs. Doubles down for the Chiefs. Oh, it's completely fallen apart.
It's over. GG. Well played by the Chiefs. Knights have capitulated right at the very end. They get slaughtered. The Chiefs show up big when it matters. Grand final rematch, yet it's the same result. Chiefs winners. They will maintain second place. And that means Guz is the king predictor once again. And I will graciously bow to you, sir. I got this one wrong. And so did the Knights.
Never in doubt, never in doubt. Even when it's a 1v3, Worthy will push through. And then God Legion to just close things out. Oh, the big three, but massive, right? Fast as well, joining in on the action in the frag department. But again, another well-rounded performance from the Chiefs. And my word, they are looking pretty scary.
They certainly are. They're looking good. They're finding a bit of form after a slow start in APAC South, but they have not been slow at all in OCN. They, as I said, are now up into second place. Well, they remain in second place. They were already there, but they are solo second place with those 9 points in total, 3 points behind Team Bliss, and that sets up what could be a tantalizing Playday 7 matchup between those two teams later on. Of course, a lot to still happen between then and now, but what a match. This was still, nonetheless, one of the best games of this season.
Yeah, a classic barn burner on Clubhouse, and it's a map that I guess naturally does make games really narrow and really close, and yeah, we saw that on display. There a lot of highlights, a couple of lowlights as well throughout this matchup, but honestly, based on what we saw on the server today, I think that the Chiefs ultimately probably did deserve a result. I mean, you could also make the argument as well that Knights, right, they should have closed it out in regulation, but hey, you know, things happen inside of the server outside of your control, and you can't win every single round that you should, right? I mean, this one, for example, round number 8, that probably should have been a Chiefs round, and the Knights took that one. So it went very much back and forth. It was quite a seesaw sort of game.
Oh, that Nitrocell. Oh, here it is. Look away if you're a Knights fan. They'll VOD review that, and I mean, they probably don't even need a VOD review that. They know where they went wrong. And look, honestly, I think they still get 1 point, Chiefs get 2 points. It's close. It's still, you know, regular season. I think for the Knights, it's not ideal, but they're not going to beat themselves up about it too much, right? It's not end of the world. It was a good game to win for the Chiefs, to come back from 6-5 to win the 3 rounds in a row necessary to get the 2 points. But yeah, I don't think the Knights will beat themselves too much about it. They understand they made a mistake. It is what it is. Move on. Dust yourselves off. They know they should have won this game. They know they should have won 7-5, but didn't happen that way. And full credit to the Chiefs, and full credit to Worthy. He is the reason why it's 8-6.
Yeah, I mean, every game that you play, particularly those that you lose, it's important that you don't dwell on things too much, and in fact, you just treat it like a learning experience. If you lose but don't learn anything, well, you're wasting your time in competitive Siege, and I mean, the Knights will know that. They don't need us to tell them. They don't need anyone else to tell them. They'll know the mistakes that they made, and they'll look to improve upon them. And the Knights historically have been a team that have undergone, I guess, a pretty natural improvement. For the most part, it hasn't sort of been too up and down. It has been pretty linear in that sense, I guess. So I expect them to bounce back, no doubt, whether it be here or APAC or both. This isn't going to be, I guess, an indication for a dark period for the Knights. It is just a best of one that went the way of the Chiefs at the end of the day.
Certainly did. We're going to go and have a chat with one of our favorites. It is Digital, of course. They have a lovable man himself. Big win against, obviously, a very strong opponent in the Knights. Mate, I just have to ask, though, that Worthy moment, what's the team comms like while that's happening in the 3v1?
Oh, that was so good. Like, some people might refer to Worthy as like Shiko, but I think he's just got his own name now. He's so nuts. He's good. That was massive. And obviously, as you guys know, it kept us in the game. And yeah, we repaid them by winning it. That was awesome.
Yeah, I mean, obviously that play in particular kept you in the game, but another thing I think that did as well is just your overall attitude, the team's attitude, the player cams we saw after almost every win. You guys were just up and about, super positive. Is that something that you do consciously or it just happens? Like, talk us through what's going through your minds.
It's good vibes only, bro.
Round or after each round.
Good vibes. It's good vibes only, bro. That's what we kept saying. Yeah, just like mental reset after each round. Doesn't really matter. Move on. Is what it is, sort of thing. Yeah, that's one thing we definitely like focus this season. And evidently it really does help. So, yeah, just the good vibes.
You got that big win against Invictus Gaming, of course, for Playday 3 of APAC South. Now you get this win against Knights. Two pretty good teams. Two very needed wins, I would probably say, off the back of a bit of a slow start in APAC South. What does this do, I guess, for the confidence of the team moving forward? Not only for the rest of OCN, but even APAC South.
I mean, yeah, it's good. Like, we definitely did start off slow, and had some small issues. But as I said earlier, in previous interviews, the issues weren't unfamiliar, and the way we went about those issues was, we've done before. So I think it was just a case of executing that, and that's what we've done. And it's awesome to see the results, come through. Yeah, definitely two needed wins, and looking forward to sort of winning some more.
Yeah, well, next week, if you want to win a match, you'll have to take down a wild card. Now, anything in particular to keep an eye on against them? Obviously, they're on the up at the moment, and they're looking pretty strong.
Yeah, I think wildcard definitely. New addition of Milo, it took some time, I think, as any team would, losing a massive player like Diesel. So we'll attack that game like we always do, with the treat them like their royalty, but then smash them hopefully. So yeah, I'm looking forward to that wildcard one. Got some good boys on the other team. So yeah, should be a barb manner.
Well, if we're talking about future matchups, what about Team Bliss? I just want your thoughts, maybe as a competitor, as a player, as to how they're going. Of course, they're 4-0. You guys have still yet to play them. You've got that matchup in Playday 7. What's your thoughts looking ahead? Because they're above you.
Are they? So they're first, and are we second?
Yeah. Yeah, that's
true.
Right. They're on 12 points. You guys are on 9 points. So there's even a bit of a gap there.
Yeah, they're having a good season. They did last season as well. So, yeah, I know. Credit to them. Yeah, I don't know. We'll just I don't know exactly when we do verse them, but
Final Playday.
Yeah, okay. I don't think they're nothing that we can't beat. So I think that with every team. So yeah, I don't know.
So probably the correct answer, mate. You can win every matchup if you set your mind to
Absolutely.
it. Best of luck for the rest of the season, and I'm sure we'll see you again at some point.
Thanks, lads. Cheers for the cast.
Big win for the Chiefs, all things considered. They played amazing. They had a very, very good game. So did the Knights as well. This is the sort of game, guys, where you can credit both teams.
Yeah, 100%. Yeah, I'd say it was probably one of the best, if not the best game we've had so far. And I sort of penciled it in as, being not only a close match heading into it, but probably going to see some really good quality Siege. Clubhouse very conducive to that sort of player style. And I think we saw that. Again, a couple of blemishes here and there, but that's Siege. It's a game of millimeters. And at the end of the day, the Chiefs are the rightful winners. And going forward, it does make that top of the table battle really interesting, as you have prefaced a couple of times, sets us up really nicely. Playday 7 against Team Bliss. If that ends up being the match that dictates who makes it automatically to the grand final, that's going to be huge. I mean, a long gap between now and then, so we don't know if that will be the case, but hey, that would be a banging storyline.
Certainly will be. Let's go and have a look at the recap, of course, for tonight's games that did play out. We had a bit of everything. We had 2 stomps and 2 close games, 7-2, 8-6. 7-2, 8-6. It was wildcard and LFO at the start, and it was classic, clinical wildcard.
Yeah, it really was. Wildcard, I mean, they looked like the wildcard evolved, the 2020 wildcard, if you would. Pretty clean, pretty methodical, and I think we probably described that as a clinic. I mean, at the end of the day, a 7-2, you would probably expect a pretty dominant result. Maybe not quite that dominant, but wildcard looked really solid.
Certainly did. LFO, honestly, they've still got some work to do. There was some decent moments within the rounds, but it's tough to really see too much positivity from a 7-2 loss. For Rafflecopter, though, that was a big game. If you didn't watch it, for those watching now, I would suggest to go back and at least watch the very end of regulation. Order were up 6-5. They had an opportunity to win the game. They should have won it. Nico, of course, got off the plant, even though he had the clash behind him. And from there, Rufflecopter went on and won in overtime. Of course, something pretty similar just happened as well with
yeah, I was just thinking that.
Chiefs and Knights. And for Bliss, it was routine Bliss. 7-2. At one point, they were up 6-0.
Yeah, a very good performance again from Bliss. They are well and truly at the top of the standings. As you mentioned, the Dig, they now have a 3-point lead. As a result of all 4 of their victories coming in regulation, that means that they've gotten all the maximum points required. And I mean, they've set up their run home really, really, really nicely.
Let's go and have a look at the predictions, which I'm sure you are glad to see, Guz, because you will be in top spot. As we sort of touched on at the very beginning of the day, it was going to come down to that Knights and Chiefs matchup. And look, you're 12-4, I'm 11-5. Oh, you know, it's just the caster duo again at the top of the standings. What can I say? Where's the other guys? 10-6. I mean, come on.
Look, I'm just going to use my little pedestal here to just give a friendly nudge to my mates at Chiefs and just say, you know, I'm still waiting for that DM about the jersey. All I'm going to say is I backed you guys tonight, never doubted it for a second. I knew that Worthy at the very start was going to win that 3v1. Absolutely no doubt in my mind. So, eyes are open. You know, if you send me a jersey, I'll wear it on broadcast. Don't get me wrong. I'm always going to back you boys in.
I think we should do it a little bit of a double, you know,
I don't know. You
Chiefs.
Didn't pick him tonight.
Well, look, honestly, Knights should have won anyway. Let's be real. Look, it's all for fun and games unless you're Ducky, who's 8-8, having a bit of a struggle over there down the bottom. The only, I was going to say only player, but he's the only journalist that is not with a double-digit lead. Let's go and have a look at our MVP of the night. It is going to be Worthy, of course. No real surprises at the end off the back of that massive clutch 3v1, along with his stats as well, a 1.43 KD ratio. Not the best opening KD, guys, but that doesn't matter when you basically single-handedly won the game for your team.
Well, yeah, you don't need to post up big numbers in the early round if you can do the job in the late round. But no, it was a well-rounded performance there from Worthy. A couple of very nice shots hit throughout. A nice double there in round 6. He also did some damage earlier in regulation, but this was the big play of the hour. Oh, we got a player cam as well. Worthy honing in, focused in to hit the 3v1 clutch. Absolutely massive. And look, we can say it as many times as we want that the Knights, I guess, capitulated a little bit there in that round, but you still need Worthy to put in a really solid performance. It is not easy to hit a 1v3 under so much pressure, and he played it perfectly.
Certainly did, all the way down to the end with the timing of that as well. And yeah, pumped. A bit of a smile off the conclusion of that. Oh, no, we're back already.
I had my arms crossed. I was like super serious.
I was just sitting there watching and enjoying it. Either way, deserved MVP. I can say, you know, that was, of course, a very last-second switch. We did have, and I'm just going to say, we did have Boydie as our original MVP, but with Worthy making plays like that, he did, in fact, steal it away. There was a couple of players tonight, of course, that I think, you know, had some big moments as well, guys. You know, Nate was one. Josh had some big moments. Obviously, we mentioned Boydie and then Worthy at the end. So it was a pretty good night overall, I think, for, you know, a lot of the players to have some big standout moments.
Yeah, Jigsaw as well is one that comes to mind. It felt like we were just plucking players out left, right, and center that were putting in solid numbers, solid performances, big impact plays. And I mean, that's just the showmanship of OCN. It's a lot of fun, and we love to see it. So who knows where we're going to go from here? Who's going to step up next?
I know where we're going. We're going to have a look at the standings for where we're at after 4 play days. Only 3 play days to go. It's still Team Bliss at the top spot. Hashtag Bliss up. They are up as they can go. Chiefs, of course, in sole second place now with 2 regulation wins. Order and Knights not too far behind them on 7. And Wildcard, you know, they're making a late run of things. They're in that 5th spot. And I got to say, I don't see that top 5 changing.
Ooh, okay, pretty big call. I mean, I would expect that we may see Ruffles sneak in. The inconsistency of Order still has me a little bit concerned, even though they are still positioned nicely in 3rd. I would say that the top 6 is locked in. I know that that's a pretty broad statement and a little bit cheap to make, but unfortunately LFO and Rhythm still feel as if they're on the back foot a little bit at the moment. The top 5 might be safe, but Ruffle, I still think, have what it takes. We just need to see them close out some of these games in regulation and earn a few more points.
Yeah, certainly. It's definitely shaping up to be a very fascinating end to the season here for the Oceanic Nationals. It's been a really good play day overall. It's been a good first half of the season. I can't wait to see how the playoffs shape up and the teams that are going to be participating there as well. And it's hard to look past Team Bliss, but then you see a performance like that from Chiefs, and you know that that kind of siege stands up come playoff time and what they're capable of. Then you can never count out the Knights. I just don't even know. How blessed are we, guys?
It's anyone's game. I mean, when we get to be in the box seat to call all the action, which is always a lot of fun. But yeah, I mean, we are really starting to see these storylines solidify. We have Bliss going undefeated. That's a huge effort from them. The Chiefs, though, stepping up when it matters. You have Order still trying to piece the puzzle together. I mean, every team has a storyline that we're trying to follow at the moment. They're all producing really exciting siege, and that's the best part about OCN.
Certainly so. Well, we're running out of time here for OCN Playday 4, so we're going to leave it right there. Of course, we'll be back next week for Playday 5. Make sure you guys tune in.
That was shocking. Does deny Weddable's ability to gain more intel, though, with that clone, which is really well played! Oh my god! Pat! Good night, Depth Drop! I can only guess that it was him that replaced it. Or, in fact, maybe even actively tried to play it. Oh, Depth Drop! Oh, my hello! What a shot!
Sort of drop down pillars after taking Cocktail, and it's working for Rafflecopter. Bailey forced into action, and he came up big! Monstrous even with 3!
I like this little cheeky setup from all. Oh, I like the setup, but not the execution. Jack Daddy executes.
And they've proven that.
The Vakes gets thrown down. Oh, but he hits the shot. Epic. Sit down. Wow, what a kill there from those Vakes.
8 seconds left. There's not really that much time. Fast is going to have to stick to plan. Nitrocell from Sage. Oh, it's perfect. Fast is gone. He's been obliterated. 1 versus 1. Knights win the round. I mean, he's got 20 seconds. Sage has no health. 1 bullet will get the job done. This might be a moment for Xenox's Chop of the Week if they lose it from here, and they do! Chiefs go to OT. What a play! This is it. He just has to protect him. Bouncin drops down. Is there another spin in this one? He gets off of it. Bouncin with a good headshot onto Nico. What a play from Bouncin and from Rafflecopter. As they send this one to overtime, and they do, in fact, deny all 3 points away from Order.
I'm running out of time. I'm running out of feeling so. I'm running out of time. To leave it all behind. Let me see the way.